How great would it be to get up close and personal with the beauty industry heroes we love and admire, and to ask them, how did you learn to do what you do? I'm Chris Baran, a hairstylist and educator for 40 plus years, and I'm inviting all our heroes to chat and share the secrets of their success. Welcome to Headcases. The guest on this week's episode is a marketing guru for the beauty and wellness industry. She's a speaker, podcaster, and founder and CEO of Maya, a client recruitment and marketing software for the beauty industry. Maya has matched over 500,000 customers with beauty professionals and driven over, catch this, $20 million in revenue to their members. And I love this, that her mission is to drive over $500 million in revenue to their members by the end of 2025. She's here to change the way that you're supported in your business. So let's get into this week's Headcase, the digital marketing guru, Kati Whitledge. Well, Kati Whitledge, welcome to Headcases. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you on here.
Well, the pleasure is mine, Chris. It's so good to see you again.
Yeah, well, and it's funny that you say again, because I the first time I think that you and I really met was at a conference. Was it Minneapolis?
Yep.
And everybody was in a lineup waiting to go down and get their pictures taken and do all of that kind of stuff. And then you and Marjorie and I think one of your peeps, we were just hanging around at this tabletop. I won't say whether we're having a beverage or not, because I don't even remember if we were at that time, but we had a great conversation. And then you just last week had me on your podcast, Beyond the Technique. And I'm just really excited about having you here. And I was saying to you earlier that I think if we hang out anymore, I'm going to have to start with birthday cards and all of that kind of stuff.
We're getting to know each other real well.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny how that reciprocates, doesn't it? So, in when we talked about it at the opening, we we're talking about, digital marketing, et cetera. And I want to get into that is what people, how they know that they can use this to their advantage. And always there's a money advantage to that, right? And first, I just want to know, I always think it's important that people know what the hair background is. So what's your hair story?
Well, yeah, I was this naughty pastor's kid who was on the fast track to nowhere, partying a lot. And, I had this kind of come to Jesus moment where I hit rock bottom, and it was literally like, this is not who I'm meant to be. And I quit doing all of that cold turkey, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to have some sort of purpose to my every single day. My sister said, you're always telling me and others like what would look good on them with hair or makeup or with clothes. Like, you should maybe consider doing cosmetology. And I thought, I don't know how to do any of that, but why not? Why not give that a try? And I applied and went through the technical college in my area. And when I got into doing hair, I started off as a commission stylist. And I tell this story often because it's crazy that my first 2 weeks of work, I made $198 paycheck. And, and I was like, nowadays that would never even fly, right? You could never just be on commission. But I wanted that. I wanted to know that if I was not successful, it was my fault. And if I was successful, it was my fault. So I didn't give up, and I stayed in that environment. And the owner of the salon that I was at said, why don't you go to this business networking group and just see what you think? So I check it out, and I was blown away. I had never been around different types of attorneys and insurance agents and professionals. And because I didn't go to a 4-year traditional college, I was like a sponge, just learning and soaking everything up. And I found out very quickly that I had this natural talent in learning and applying. I think that's a talent in and of itself. You can learn a lot, but if you never apply it, it doesn't have an impact. But also specifically business and marketing. I was actually better at business and marketing than I was at doing hair. But because of those skills, I became double and triple booked behind the chair when I was behind the chair because of my people skills and my ability to sell and rebook and all of the necessary things that come with being successful behind the chair. So kind of fast forward, I opened my own salon. I never kind of would have. It was where I was at. It was a very interesting build out. It was one of those where your chair was right in front of your sink. You would turn people in your chair and lean them back to wash their hair and turn them back around. And because it was almost like a cubicle setup, there wasn't room for an assistant. And we didn't have that kind of structure where people kind of helped out and washed each other's hair. So getting to a point where I was double and triple booked, the quality of my work and relationships starting to suffer. So I thought, well, I either need to go in my own booth rental and have more space, or maybe I open a salon and start a team. Being that I love being around others and I love being a part of a team. I grew up in sports and whatnot. I thought, okay, I'm going to start a salon. So in 2010, I opened my first salon. It was 750 square feet. We had 5 stations, 2 shampoo bowls. And that's where kind of the story originally began.
Wow. So but that furthered though, didn't it? Because you went on beyond that 700 plus square foot salon and 5 stations, and now where is that at now? What did that go to, and then how did that lead you to? And I do love. I wrote down the word here, sell. I love the word that you used. Everybody couches that word, so I realize I'm going down a lot of avenues here today, but I want to know how you went from that 700 square foot to where you are now. You can tell us the number of businesses that you have and how it goes. And then how did that lead to you getting to digital marketing, et cetera?
Yeah, well, I want to just share what marketing is, because I feel like that is something that nobody really teaches us. But marketing is communication. And we are always communicating with 4 groups, regardless of the type of business that you own. You're always communicating, AKA marketing, with existing clients, with prospective clients, with existing team members, and prospective team members. And I think this was just a kind of a God-given gift, my ability to communicate well, both in written word and, verbally with people. So that is something that I needed to utilize in order to grow the businesses. At the very beginning, when I opened the salon, I only had 2 team members. They were both on commission only. I needed to make sure that they would be very successful financially in order to keep them and also grow the business. But I vowed that I would never give away a discount. I didn't want to devalue in the mind of the buyer their experience. So I did what's called guerrilla marketing, which means you go on foot in creative ways and work to build your clientele. So I created these really cool physical gift cards. They were an actual gift card that felt valuable, like as if you were going to Lululemon or anywhere with your gift card that you get for this special season. And it was a real gift card. And I was giving literally away like $25, $50 gift cards at every event I could. I attended expos, I attended business networking events, chamber events, anything I could, business socials, church, workout, gyms. And I would be handing these cards out left and right to help fill the chairs of my new stylists. Neither one of them had their own clientele, and they relied on me. And I knew that if they were successful, this is the same thing. It would be my fault. If they weren't, it was my fault, right? So grew them up. We just expanded that salon into 1,150 square feet. So for those of you who have seemingly small spaces, big things can happen in those spaces. We hit $1 million of revenue in 1,150 square feet.
Wow.
We had a team of 19 in there. We had a 150 square foot break room. It was nuts. Like, I don't even know if that's legal. And we got to a point where we were able to get to our new forever location. So we then expanded a 3rd time into 2,500 square feet. And now today we have 2 hair salon locations, a nail salon location. It was back in 2014, though, that I had this kind of epiphany. And none of this could have happened, by the way, if I didn't hire a coach. So for everybody listening, if you don't have somebody mentoring you, find somebody that has been where you've been, who you respect, who will be a big cheerleader for you, but also will hold you accountable. It is often great to find somebody who's 5 steps ahead of you and not 5,000 steps ahead of you as well to ask questions to. But by hiring a coach, I realized, oh my gosh, this is what it means to have a cash flow forecast. Like all these different areas of business that I was terrible at. I was great at marketing, not great at financial planning. I got the help and I got to a point where the salon really could run without relying on me. And that opened this whole new door of being a true entrepreneur. And to be honest, I kind of got bored. I was like, what am I going to do with my life now? And this is where starting that new big scary thing that you think is impossible, it scares the crap out of you. What is that thing? And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not go down this path? And that's where the birth of our technology company came in. But in 2014, I had this epiphany like, okay, before a consumer does business with us and even long-term business with us, what's their behavior? How do they hear about us? Where do they go? What do they do? And I realized that the one place I could grab the most of them was our website. So even if I'm promoting our business on social media or through advertising, whether that's digital or physical, like billboards, whatever, radio, like I know that consumers are going to my company website. And I know, and this is a fact, that 90% of consumers visiting your website are new and they have never done business with you. So I thought to myself, what could be that really special way to engage them? That could be all about them, that they would love, but that would help me predict that they would have an exceptional experience before they even came in. How could I predict that? And I knew that if I could connect with them and hear from them and identify who they would be a good fit with at my salon, and I could match them up, like be a matchmaker for them, that I would predict a positive visit and I would predict that they would come back over and over again. So I worked my butt off to create this really special matchmaker, kind of like eHarmony, but for my own salon. And I implemented this into my website and I realized, oh my gosh, 7 out of 10 people that are going through our matchmaking process with our very special algorithms. This is all based on neuromarketing, which I really dove into because, again, marketing, but like psychology and behavior and consumer spending and even why people are in relationships. Like, how come your marriage lasts forever and some don't? Like, what makes people click and connect and stay the long haul? So I studied love languages and DISC personality profiling and the Enneagram and so on and so forth. So 7 out of 10 people going through our matchmaking process came in to do business with us.
Yeah, wow.
And it was huge. And I was like, this is a conversion rate. And conversion rate sounds so techy, but really it was like, if I'm going to capture people and their leads, how do I make sure they're qualified, they're hot, they want to come in, they get to do business with us. This was the way. And we call it Maya. Maya is a persona. She is your path to finding your perfect clientele, or for the consumer, your perfect provider in the industry. And I said to myself, okay, this is so awesome. I want to share it with owners everywhere. So that was the big risk. In 2017, we launched the first iteration. We made it just for hair only. And then we said, okay, now that I know a few things about running a technology company, which again, I never thought I would ever be somebody that would have any capabilities of that. It was like, we're now going to relaunch after COVID 2022. Maya is now the most sophisticated neuromarketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. And we've helped generate over $20 million of revenue for our partners. We are international. And our secret sauce is this really unique way of matching consumers with the beauty providers at your business.
There's several things in there that were amazing. And because for the people listening, you won't see this magnificent gray hair and gray beard that is on this 25-year-old person. But for those of you who can't be fooled, I'm a baby boomer, and I related so much to when you talked about passing out the postcards, etc., because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all of those things. You didn't have websites. You wrote people would phone in and you'd write down your appointment sheet and your handwritten book with the eraser so you could change for cancellations, etc. But one thing that I do notice that has folded over, and this is just an opinion. This is not a marketing survey. It's not anything. But I think that the difference that I see and why it works so well in what you do with Maya and your thought process versus some of that old school baby boomer, my clients, my salon, build my name. And what I love that you were saying is, as the owner of the business, you're matching the people that came in with the right person so that they connect. And I wrote that down when you were talking about marketing equals communication. And right above that, we know that communication equals connection, and connection is the relationships. And if the owners can do it, even if you're independent and you just have one person that's working beside you, you're training, you still have the opportunity to connect the right person with the right stylist. And that connection builds loyalty, which makes them want to stay with the salon and that stylist much, much longer. And I think, knowing even myself, I'll say I'm doing the circle around the head ego thing, that when we all started way back when, it was always about me first, as opposed to team first, and a salon owner that if I provide for all the people and make them successful, they'll help me become successful. And I loved what you said about that, and how you're using this to help everybody be successful, not just the owner.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and so that, I mean, it's I know you and I had a little chat before we had started this conversation, and we were talking about social media. We were talking about marketing, and I think that there is such a difference between what people really think marketing is. And quite frankly, with my team, I pay other people to do that, to get that going, because it is not my wheelhouse. I only wish I had the smarts that you have in that area. But one thing I have learned from my teachers and my mentors, my coaches, probably some of the same ones you have, is that pay other people to do the things you don't do well, and you do the things that you do well. And I did say, for all the men listening out there with 12-year-old humor, I said do. This episode is sponsored by the Salon Associate Accelerator from trainersplaybook.com. Are you struggling with the time and cost of associate training? Do you feel like your salon is running you? We'll get your associates on the floor, all with 90% less time from you, so you can get back to building your business. Get them world-class design, finishing, color, and client care skills they'll use every day for the rest of their career, while you focus on realizing your vision. Go to trainersplaybook.com and get the Salon Associate Accelerator. And now, back to the show. But the point is, what's some of the biggest mistakes, or let me rephrase that. What are some of the biggest opportunities that people are missing out when it comes to marketing to get their proper clients?
Oh, such a good question. And I think that when we look at our marketing, there's different pieces to the marketing puzzle, and we have to really understand consumer buying behavior. What are the steps that they take before they actually come in and do business with you? But I think the biggest there's two missed opportunities for owners listening. Number one is brand awareness. So we've talked a lot in the last 5 to 10 years about the importance of SEO, which is search engine optimization, meaning when somebody's on Google trying to find a hair salon near them, you want to come up as one of the top options. And that is true, but that's based on a consumer in a position ready to look and buy. What about the consumer who is perusing social media, who's not interested in buying or doesn't need to right now? How are you putting your brand in front of them? Because the big brands do this constantly to us, maybe for us, depending on how you look at it. And we should be learning from them that they know the importance of dripping out that flashing of their brand in front of you constantly. That's neuromarketing. That's using brain psychology to get the brand in front of you so that when it is time for you to need or want a hair service, you're going to think of them. You want to have brand awareness campaigns going. And that is where social media comes in, because social media is a platform where you're either getting your brand in front of somebody new or you're affirming to your existing audience like you are great and valuable to their lives and a reflection of their own personal brand. But what happens next is the biggest missing link, and that is lead generation. So every major company needs to generate leads. If you are not generating leads, you are not building up this reserve of clients that can come in and do business with you. So many owners are scrambling to get new clients in the door and to keep them. What are you doing to generate leads? And let me just say what a lead is, because most people don't realize that to get a lead, you are actually getting somebody's name, email, phone number. You're actually capturing their contact information. If you don't have a way to contact this actual human being, you did not get a lead.
Right.
Okay, so we need to generate leads and then nurture our leads before they're ready to buy. Buying behavior has changed. People are a little more skeptical, right? And it's like, how do I really believe that you're a good thing? Like, I don't know. And so you want something in place that's going to capture lead or capture client information. So some of us are like, well, I have that because on my website, I say, hey, sign up for my newsletter. Well, nobody's signing up for your newsletter. Nobody wants that. Okay. Because they don't know what it's going to be like, or it's just going to be annoying, or you have anything really valuable to share. Because one of our obstacles as businesses in this industry is we're not L'Oreal. So I'll sign up for L'Oreal because you're going to put out cool stuff that I'm inspired by. But everyday owners don't typically have brands that are that influential. So why would I sign up for your newsletter?
Right.
And then the other way is maybe a discount, like, hey, put in your name and email or just your email, and we'll give you $40, $20 to $40 off your first visit. Okay, how's that working for you? How is it improving your retention rates? The answer is that it's not. We're just giving massive discounts to get people in the door. It's just a new way of doing the same thing. And most of the time when you get that email, most owners are doing nothing with that email afterward. And so it's important for us, like you mentioned, it'd be nice if there was something that could do all this work for me. And that's what we do. So we're capturing leads that are actually interested and excited about you. And then we're nurturing them. Because think about this. This is a real fact. Like if a consumer reaches out to your company, how quickly do they expect to hear from you? Right. And the answer is within 5 minutes.
Wow.
And most of us are like, that's nuts. There's no way anybody could do that. Well, that's where automations come in. So if you were to sign up for any offer on social media, let's say a clothing company comes through your social media and you're like, ooh, that's kind of cool. And you submit to get whatever offer they give, you're going to start getting notifications and emails from them and text messages immediately. And how often are they going to get in front of you? Nonstop, to the point where most of you are going to reply in your text, stop, because it's too much. Well, but they can risk that because they're generating thousands of leads every single day. Well, what can we do as owners in this industry? We can generate leads. We can drip out communications that isn't over the top, but enough to stay in front of the mind of the buyer. And then we're putting the opportunity in front of them to come in for a service. Now, Maya does all that for everybody listening. Like, so you don't even have to, you just sign up. We set it up. Everything about it is taken care of. We do that because we know our buyer. Our buyer is the salon owner who's working so hard, so busy, right? So we just take care of all that. It's all set up for you. And at the end of the day, our main mission stays the same, which is to bring incredible people together so that they have long-lasting relationships. And it just happens to be hair is the vehicle in which this relationship exists. So I love it. I could talk about that all day long.
I'm having epiphanies here as we're going through this, so and I'm gonna spin this a little bit for those people. And a lot of people that are listening to this may know that we have our subscription based, like it's a model that we have with people for training associates now. So and this is where a question I'm going to throw out to you to try to parallel some of this. We've been always trained that when you want to get something, and the way that you get either the email or the connection or whatever that contact is that you have, and we've always been told that it's called give, ask. So you never ask for stuff first. You have to give them something of value. So for instance, we would say, okay, here's the things that we can do, but if you want to know how to do XYZ when you're in your salon and you're training, just hit comment or hit XYZ and we'll send you a PDF that will solve that problem or help you to do with this, et cetera, et cetera. So how much of that do you say is is that what you would call a proper way for somebody to get leads, of doing give, ask? Because we've been told you don't ask at the beginning because the ask is really for a sale or to be a part of your company or to come and visit or whatever. But if you do that at the beginning, it reeks of a sale and then people run. So, but if they know that they're getting something, then it brings them back in and they're willing to say, wow, if I got that for free, what am I going to get if I have to pay? Is that a correlation with what you're talking about?
Okay, so far, your approach is still lead gen. What you're talking about is still a way to generate leads, and it's to offer freebies. This is really smart to do when you have a company that's offering like education model membership subscription, a subscription model. Same with our company. What about the hair salon? What's the freebie that you can offer? Some owners might do something like, hey, go sign up for this and we'll give you a free blowout. That could work a little bit, but now you have some sort of, the managing of the program that can be challenging. For example, who's going to actually perform the free blowout?
Right.
Are they going to be cool with doing that? Is it free? How do they get paid? How are you going to track if the client did that already or didn't? So all of that is possible, Chris. The issue is managing it, and it becomes complicated on the actual execution and the tracking and measuring side of managing that campaign. Because everything you're saying is campaign-based. Great. With our approach, there's no effort for the owner and the team. Everything is a benefit to them. And the consumer has the benefit of knowing, like, gosh, these are my people. These are the people that will do when it is time for me to get my hair done, my makeup done, my nails done, a massage. I now know and feel very confident of who I'm going to work with. And let me just preface it like this, because consumers, and this is important to understand, it's a fact that they're more scared to see a new hairstylist than they are seeing the dentist. So let's put that into perspective. Consumers are like, it's not just a blind date for your stylist to see somebody new. And we all know the anxieties that our young stylists have typically about seeing a new guest. It's that same fear that a consumer has in seeing somebody new. Are they going to understand what I'm saying? Are they going to listen to me? Am I going to leave with my dream hair, or is this going to be another nightmare? The number one answer, because this is part of the data that we give to our owners as part of this matchmaking process, is why is somebody looking for somebody new? Is it because they're new to the area? Or is it because their previous provider has outpriced them? Is it because they weren't listening to them? They felt like they just didn't have that connection. Why are so many people looking for somebody new that hasn't clicked or stuck yet? So it's a huge opportunity for us to solve multiple problems. But as far as the idea of give, then take, not a bad approach at all. but what's your give and who's going to management and how are you going to track and measure the campaign? That's where it becomes hard.
Yeah, and and I'm giggling right here now because I know Marjorie, who is, I mean, she's such a critical cog in our wheel, and she's the one that always has to manage all this stuff. And I know that she's on here right now, and she's going, "I told you so. I told you so." And so Marjorie, we are listening. And for those people out there, that's why I think that if you can have systems in place that are automated, that you don't have to have somebody within the business that takes care of the blow dry for free or whatever. I think that's really critical. So, and I know that right after this call, Marjorie is going to be calling you and saying, "How the hell can you help us with this?" So that's another time for another conversation. So,
and let me put this out there: when you have a lead and you've got their information, you still want to give, but in forms of information and inspiration. Yeah. So when we're marketing to them and communicating with them, whether it's through text or email, our approach isn't just to say, book an appointment. It's like, hey, here are 3 ways that you can improve, the damaged dryness of your hair, or here are the 5 trends for this season's color. Yeah. So we are providing them information and inspiration as part of our drip campaigns. It's not just an bottom of funnel call to action. So I do want to put that out there, that is an important piece of the puzzle, is to just give valuable information that they'll actually want to pay attention to.
Yeah. And does that, with those kind of things, and I love what you have said there about dripping out information and inspiration. What's the form? Does somebody have to say, okay, our team is going to sit down and we're going to have a brainstorming session that is 20 minutes max, and we're going to write down 5 ideas, and then one person's going to take each of those and put together a PDF, a video, something. What are things how do they get that information out? How do they get that to put out to that new prospective client?
So through the Maya funnel process, we drip out email. We drip out through email. Yep. All of our communications are through email.
So they don't even have to do that brainstorming session. No, you guys do all of that.
Yes.
And then that just goes into your link and it sends out. Where the hell were you guys? Like when I had my businesses and trying to figure out all this stuff home while I'm sitting there with a bottle of beer, Coca-Cola in my hand and trying to figure out what are we going to do with this stuff. So
I was drinking and then going to my middle school dance. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I think there is all of that side. So, I mean, God, we could have won. You said at the beginning that we could talk forever about this. And I'm hoping that, and I know that just this simple stuff that we've got going on right here is things, food for people to really think about in here. So, I want to first of all just say, I wish we could have had more time on here to go through this, and I think we're going to have to figure out some more content and have you back on again. And I want to say just firstly is that, Katie, this has been so great to have you on here, and it's been just a wonderful time having and talking to you again, as always. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Chris. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, and listen, for people, I know you're going to love this episode with Katie. And if you want to just be on your local, whatever platform you're on, and just give us a review, make a comment, etc., so we can get more incredible people out there listening to this incredible information from Katie and other like-minded people. If you can do that, that would be really appreciated. And Katie, I know that, listen, with Maya and all the information that you have to give out on this, and they're already wanting to know, how do I get a hold of you? What do I have to do in order to get this engine working for me?
Oh, thank you for asking that. Just go to joinmaya, MYA.com, joinmaya.com.
Awesome. And then your team will get a hold of them and set all this up.
They can schedule a demo of it. They can email us through there, check it out, see how it works. If you go to our business resources page, there are tons of freebies for you to download, tons of resources for you, all free.
Awesome. Well, listen, for all the people watching and listening, I know you're going to love this. I know you're going to love Maya. And for that, I just one more time, I want to say, Katie, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. And thank you so much for giving up your time and sharing with us here.
Thank you, Chris.
Headcases is produced by Cut Action Media with Marjorie Phillips doing the planning parts, Lee Baran on the video bits, and Adrian Taverner mixing the audio jazz.